guys, welcome to today's Big Brother 19 updates and spoilers. Oh God, did you hear that? Our house guest of the day is Mike Schumacher. Mike, I just broke my neck for you. But thank you so much for your support. You're so awesome and we really appreciate it. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. All right, so Mark has a new person to pretend to play chess with. Sorry, Dominique. Oh, I wonder if she fake plays chess by herself now that she's home. I don't know. That's really sad. But anyway, Mark was having a game chat with Jason on the Sky Bridge, pretending to play chess, and Mark was like, all right, my main goal on Thursday is to win the HOH. And Jason's just like, no shit. But no, Mark continues. He wants to win the HOH because he wants to put up Jess and Cody to try and clear his name with everybody else. Okay, he's been telling Jess and Cody that he's with them 1,000%. I don't know if he feels like he can get away with that since that's not a real thing, so it doesn't really count. I don't know, but it would be interesting to see what Mark would actually do if he won HOH. Something tells me that he would turn his back on Jess and Cody yet again, because he wants to be in that full house alliance. He was like, do you think when they leave this house I'll be clear? And Jason's just like, I don't know. You know how Jason gets when he's like, Paul, and he says, I feel like you're in trouble right now, but you're not the biggest target in the house. So Jason tells Mark, it wouldn't hurt for you to work on your relationship with Alex. She's really leery of you, and you know, you should talk to her on a personal level, not game, because that's going to freak her out. So just try to get close with her, and we'll see what we can do. So then Mark is like, well, do you think I'm going before Cody or Jess? And Jason's like, no, no way, not a chance, which is true. Jess and Cody are the biggest targets right now, but Mark is like right there behind them. So Mark is like, yeah, I feel like I'm going to be the next target once they're gone, so I really need to work on my relationships here. And he feels like Matt and Raven are really stirring the pot against him. So he's saying, like, those two are floaters. They just go wherever the numbers are. He doesn't like that. He likes people who play the game. So Jason agrees. Like, yeah, they're just floating along, and it's really bugging them. So then Mark says, all right, I'm going to work on my stuff with Alex. And then they're talking about Paul and how smart he is. And Jason's like, honestly, like, I can't beat that guy. He's as sharp as a tack. It's just not going to happen. He's here to win. Maybe that's a sign that you should, like, start targeting him soon. I don't know. It's just an idea. But anyway, after they're done not playing chess, Paul calls Jason into the HOH room, and he's just like, hey, what was that numbnuts trying to say to you? Of course, numbnuts meaning Mark. So Jason says, well, he just wanted to know if he was public enemy #1 right now. I told him no. And then he reports to Paul that Mark said if he won HOH, he would put up Jess and Cody. And Paul loves what he's hearing. So then Jason is saying he's a little bit nervous that maybe the showmances are just playing all of them. Paul doesn't think so. He's like, no, even if they were, they don't have the numbers to do anything right now. We cannot give them that opportunity. So he doesn't want Mark or Elena winning HOH because he's not 100% sure what they would do. So then yesterday afternoon, Big Brother gave the house guests something to practice for the HOH competition. So let me describe this setup here. It was like this big downward ramp with obstacles on it, you know, trying to block the way. And then at the end of the ramp, there were 2 crates waiting. So basically you had to hit this ball into one of the crates with an oversized golf club / mallet thing. So it's one of those. It's a crapshoot competition. So they each got 10 practice shots and then they had to go back inside. So some people didn't make it at all. Okay, some people really sucked. But Raven made the most with 3. Kevin and Cody both made 2. Christmas, Alex, and Mark all made 1, and Christmas was shooting from her scooter, just to let you know. I think it was Jess who said, like, this is like polo for Christmas. And then all throughout the practice, Paul keeps saying, like, oh, I just want to let you guys know the competition's going to be way different from this. It's really going to be more of a gamble, more of like a crapshoot. It's not going to be this easy, and this is really just so we can all get a feel for it. Thanks, bruh. Thanks for the info. Okay, so then after practice was over, Jess and Cody were in the bathroom area, and Jess is pissed that it's a crapshoot HOH competition. She was really hoping it was going to be some sort of endurance or at least like a mental thing where they would have a shot and more of an advantage because they really want this HOH. So if it was endurance, they'd be hanging on there until their freaking limbs start falling off. So Cody's just like, it's whatever. And Mark walks over. He says, let's just get lucky. I think Jess and Cody are already getting lucky. Anyway, Jess and Cody went to the Rose bedroom. And again, she's saying she's disappointed that this competition isn't based on determination. And she says going home feels a lot more real now because it is going to be like 10-2 or like 9-2, whatever, going into this competition. Or 8-2, I don't know, whatever. No, because nobody's going home, so like 9-2. So they're realizing like, crap, if this is just an odds thing, it's not looking good for us. So Cody's saying at the same time, they've already won, let's make the most of this week. And they decide if they lose this HOH competition, they're both going to compete in the Temptation competition next week. All right. When I say next week, I mean tomorrow. Okay. So then Paul was up in the HOH room with a bunch of his minions. You got Raven, Matt, Christmas. Alex comes up after a few minutes, and Paul is telling them again, the real competition is going to be much more difficult. We're only going to get one shot each, and the highest number is probably going to be surrounded by a lot of really low numbers. So he's saying, look out for that. He's giving them all these insider tips that should be pretty obvious, but then he's telling everybody that he and Josh are going to talk shit during Cody and Jess's turns. That's really interesting because I feel like every time we've seen this competition, I don't remember anybody ever like crap talking somebody during their turn. Maybe they have, I don't know, but I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. That's like freaking crazy. Usually you can hear a pin drop. So then Christmas is saying that she's going to try to help out by telling the others, like Mark and Elena, that she's going to try and tell them the wrong strategy to mess them up. What strategy are you talking about? Like, this is a freaking crapshoot. So then Paul does have a strategy. He's like, all right, step one, we attempt to get a good score locked in. Oh, that's how you do it? Thank you. I never would have thought of that. But basically, I mean, he's trying to make a point here. It just sounded really silly the way it came out. But he's saying they want somebody to go for like a good score, but not necessarily the best score. So like say it's out of 30, somebody gets like a 20 or something. And they lock that in, and then everybody else, once they get that pretty good score, everybody else can go for like the really high ones. It's just so funny the way it sounded though. Like, oh, the way we're gonna win this, we're gonna attempt to get a really good score locked in. Okay. So then Paul says, all right guys, I'm gonna need help with all this crap talking. So Christmas suggests, like, we're gonna say Cody is riding Jess's coattails. That's really gonna fire him up. I don't know that that's gonna bother him, okay? He's from the he's got a freaking military background. He's used to people screaming in his face, okay? But anyway, Josh comes up. Paul's telling him, we gotta go hard with this crap talking. And then Paul is thinking that Jess is gonna have some sort of disadvantage in this competition as a result of using the halting hex. I don't know why they continue to think there's gonna be some sort of punishment to go with this hex. There's already a consequence from her accepting the temptation. Why would she get double consequence? It doesn't make sense. But they're like, I think they're just really hopeful, and it's just a lot of wishful thinking. So then Paul is saying that he wants to make Jess and Cody uncomfortable for the whole next day leading up to the competition. So he's like, I'm going to be doing pots and pans overnight, just every few hours to keep waking them up. Because you really need to be extremely well rested to hit one ball into a hole. Yeah, okay, anyway. Mark and Elena, oh wait, sorry, I jumped the gun here. They agree as a group that they're not going to tell Mark and Elena their strategy for this competition. Again, what strategy? You freaking hit the ball and try to get a good score, okay? So then Mark and Elena join them upstairs, and Paul is saying that he thinks that maybe there's something up because the card said everyone should practice, and he thinks that includes him. And he's wondering if there's some sort of twist where he's going to be competing in this HOH competition even though he's the outgoing one. As far as I know, no. Okay. And then they're wondering, is Jess still going to use the hex? Because they noticed that Jess and Cody were really upset when they saw what this next competition is going to be. So they're like, well, maybe she won't want to use it because this competition is based on luck, and their odds have significantly decreased knowing that it's not an endurance competition. So maybe we'll be able to convince her not to use it. And then Paul says, if we can do that, and she thinks that she's going to not use the hex and then Cody's going to go, no, we're going to vote out Jess. You really think she's going to do that? You really think so? So then Raven is saying that Jess just wants to be with Cody for another week. She doesn't even care about anything else. And then they're all discussing how it's ridiculous that Jess wants to use the hex. Yes, it's ridiculous to use a twist that America gave you to save the one person you feel like you can trust in the house. How ridiculous is that? Okay, so then a little later, Josh is in the Apple Lounge with Kevin, and Josh is like, shit, man, like, I am in some deep trouble if Cody wins this HOH because Cody just can't live with me in this house. And Kevin's saying, all right, Josh, you need to yell at Cody to throw him off. And Josh is saying, I'm not doing that. Okay, he really does not like how personal it got the other day. He said it escalated very quickly. He's not happy about it, and he doesn't want to be in that situation again. So he's not going to do it. And I have to say, thank you. Yes, he was awful the other day when this was all going down, but at least Josh has some sort of remorse and feels bad for what happened, because a lot of the other ones are still trying to justify it, and it is gross. So then Paul was having a game chat with Raven and Matt in the HOH room, and Matt's just like, I want to let you guys know, I think I've been doing a really good job of pulling Elena back in. He feels like she's almost there because things were a little bit weird when Mark and Elena were left out of that vote last week. So Paul agrees, like, yeah, I've had some really good conversations with Elena lately, and I think we're getting back, you know, on good terms with her. So Paul says, if by some chance Jess and Cody are safe this week, we need to have a backup plan here, because if Jess and Cody don't win HOH, they could still win the TC, they could still win POV, and then both of them will be safe. So in that situation, Paul says Mark will become the new target. And that's kind of interesting because before, their hit list was Jess, Cody, then Elena, and then Mark. They felt like Elena was a bigger threat. And they still do think that she's a stronger player than Mark, but they feel like they have a better chance of controlling Elena than they do Mark. And I would definitely have to agree with that, because Elena is like all over Paul. And I think she's more likely to listen to Paul than Mark would be. They feel like Mark is too close to Jess and Cody, and they don't want to take that chance. So Mark would be the next target. He's gotta, you know, he's freaking out for a good reason. So then Josh and Christmas were chatting in the Apple Lounge, and it starts out mostly as like inspirational stuff. You know that Christmas likes to help other people, so she feels really good when Josh tells her, like, you've helped me out so much in this game, and when the time comes, like, I'm gonna help you. He lets Christmas know that she's his #1 in this house, but I feel like he says that to a few people. I think he does really like Christmas though. So then Josh brings up he really did not like the way that Raven personally attacked Jess. He thinks that she really went over the line the other day, and he says Raven and Jess used to be best friends, so that really is a huge red flag for him. Yeah, you think? Okay, and Christmas is like, yeah, Raven is not the angel of the group anymore. She took it too far. But she's saying, Josh, don't tell anybody else you feel that way because you don't want to cause tension in the group. And he's like, yeah, I know. I just wanted to tell you and get it off my chest. So then Christmas is telling Josh, like, I feel like you're really cool with the group now. I know you started off really rocky, but keep up the good work. And they both feel like they're in good standing with Master Paul. Oh, brother. Okay. And they're worried. They're kind of worried about Elena getting close to Paul again because they feel like she might betray him at some point, and they want to protect Paul. Okay, so then Josh is saying that he wants to move forward with Christmas, Paul, Kevin, Jason, and possibly Alex. And Christmas is like, I don't know about Alex. She's like, I'm going to tell you right now, Alex doesn't like you so much, and she will try to come after you at some point, so you might want to keep her at an arm's length. Alright, so then last night, there was a lot of trash talk about Jess and Cody, talking in circles, talking about the fight the other day, or fights. talking about if she's going to use the hex or not and how it's selfish if she does. And then Paul is saying that he thinks that Jess can only save one person with the hex. Why are we back to this now? How did we get here? I don't understand it. But that's what he thinks. So he's like, in that situation, you know, if the opportunity arises, we're voting out Jess over Cody. I'm just gonna leave that there. So then Mark and Josh are like freaking best friends now, out of nowhere. They're cool. I guess when Josh was going off on Cody, he can only focus all that energy on one person. So now that that's on Cody, he can be cool with Mark. So last night they took turns dancing with Elena in the kitchen while the other one sang the circus song and hit the pots and pans. Josh taught Mark the Carlton dance. That's always a good time. And yeah, they were just hanging out, like play fighting together. So freaking weird. And then Paul and Jason played a little prank on Josh. They saran wrapped his pillow and blankets to make this like snowman person, and they put some of Josh's clothes on it, which was actually really funny. And Kevin was like, hey, save that wrapping so I can put it on my stomach. I can't believe he's still doing that. Oh my god. Okay, so then Josh came out from, I think he was in the DR, and he saw the snowman in his clothes and he thought it was hilarious. Alright, so then this morning, Paul's still hopeful that maybe Jess won't use the hex. And he's telling his people, you know, in that situation, make sure you're voting out Jess because she's got to go before Cody. And then the feeds were down for most of the day, and they were on an HOH lockdown. The feeds came back at like 2:30 Big Brother time, and they've just been like eating and getting ready. I wonder what was with the really long lockdown. What's that all about? I guess maybe production needed more time for their rehearsal since the hex will be used tonight, so it's a little bit different than a typical live show. But unless something crazy happens, yeah, Jess is going to use the hex, which means nobody goes home this week, and then we're going to see the golf HOH. We still haven't even seen the Power Veto ceremony yet on the show, so it should be interesting. So let me know in the comments who you guys are rooting for in the HOH. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen here. Ooh! Okay, so let me know, and until tomorrow, much love.